Hey, yo, let me get them bird downs in the chat. We got a Bears victory. We got us a Bears victory, y'all. 1-1 Chicago Bears out here. Let's get them bear downs in the chat, man. It's your boy, Pat the Designer, back at it again, man. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the page, because we do talk Chicago sports weekly. This is the only channel that's talking Chicago sports, how Chicago talk. And you know we got to talk about this dub right here. You know we got to talk about this dub right here. Let me get them bear downs in the chat. Let me get them bear downs in the chat. This team. Now listen, was it pretty all the way through? Absolutely not. I've got some serious questions that still need to be answered. Offensively, absolutely. He's got some serious questions that still need to be answered. But a dub is a dub is a dub. This team, this defense really stepped up. And I know a lot of people are gonna come in here talking about, listen, we can't be too excited. It's the Bengals. No. This was a game where you can be excited. The things we saw out of this defense today is a game where you can be excited, because I didn't expect the Bears to come out and pretty much dominate defensively. We saw a couple touchdowns late where it looked bad. Couple bad plays looked real bad, but for most of this game, we saw this Bears defense really take advantage of the team. And we can't say, oh, it's just the Bengals, because we just held the Bengals to 17 points, a team that easily was carving up the Vikings last week. Now, maybe that Vikings defense not the greatest either, but it's an ugly win, and I'll take it. It's an ugly win, and I'll take it. Definitely got some questions, though. Definitely got some questions still. When I'm looking at what we saw today, starting off on the defensive side of things, I think we can all agree that the defense looked better, but Eddie Jackson still can't tackle. I think we can all agree that the defense 110% looked better, but Eddie Jackson still can't tackle. And we saw that cost the Bears a little bit. We saw that cost the Bears a little bit there late. Of course, the big topic here, Justin Fields. The young rookie got into the game. I think he navigated the game pretty well for the most part. I think there's some things here with the offensive side of the ball that you have to look at and say, hey, this team offensively, today we saw players not step up. Today we saw players not step up offensively. And the scary part is, over 100 in the chat already. Shout out to y'all. The scary part with that is, they're players that we absolutely need to count on. They're players that 110% we have to count on to win these games, and they didn't step up in some of the big moments right there. I like what I saw from Justin Fields early. I think that he's still very young. I think that he's still very raw. I think there's still a lot that his game absolutely needs to improve upon. But there were opportunities there for the Bears to dog stomp the Bengals today, and our major players were not able to take advantage of it. Now, Allen Robinson, credit him with the first touchdown pass. You can't take that away from him. But I believe there were two opportunities that Justin put in his hands that he was not able to come down with. P.Kidd in the chat. Teddy Casanova in the building.
What a day. What a day.
Listen, let's address this comment right here. Mike Nice. Eddie played a hell of a game, Pat. Stop hating, brother. Besides that one touchdown catch by Chase, and Eddie didn't tackle, he was good. You forget about him making tackles behind the line for a loss. I don't forget about it. But we're holding Eddie Jackson to a higher standard. We're paying Eddie Jackson as one of the best safeties in the NFL. And listen, Eddie Jackson, did he have a better game? Yes. Did he still prove that when it comes to tackling, he's going to throw his shoulder before he's going to put his arms out? 100%. He made a great tackle behind the line, but here's the thing. Eddie's not supposed to be behind the line. We need Eddie out in the field stopping the ball from going into receivers' hands and not taking out his own people.
Why don't we start from the top and look at what happened that look at the good, the turnaround from week one. Our defense totally turned around. I mean, listen. I mean the 3 picks, obviously he made some bad decisions, but it's still Joe Burrow. He's a good QB, right? And they absolutely stepped up and got those picks when we needed them. Turned it around. That pick 6 by Roquan. Hey, listen, we were just trashing them last week. Man turns around, gives us a pick 6. Go figure.
I mean, listen, I don't think we were trashing specifically Roquan. That whole defense was getting trashed. I respect. Listen, the first thing I said was on Twitter, this defense shut us up. And I'm glad they did. This defense shut us up. This defense looked at a level that we haven't seen this defense look at in 2 years. Khalil Mack getting to the quarterback. I said we kind of knew that would happen. Absolutely hurrying the quarterback, getting some pressures there. You know what I'm saying? We got a super chat here. Shout out to the super chat. Shout out to Bear Forever. Man, Justin should have 2 TDs today. Mooney and A-Rob had bad drops today. Absolutely. And here's the big thing with what I saw, because I know people are going to come in here. This is the thing that I ask of Bears fans. Continuously update your narratives. Continuously update your narratives. We're seeing a lot of the same. Nagy called a horrible game. Nagy looked bad. We're not going into the week saying that.
Pause. Nagy didn't call a horrible game. I have to give it to him. Got to get credit where credit is due. He called a good game. The run game was really effective. You know, the plays he called worked.
And a run game that I mean, listen, Delvin Cook was shut down completely last week. Completely last week versus defense. David Montgomery came out, 20 carries for David Montgomery for 61 yards. You have to keep going.
I will say this.
Keep going.
You gotta keep the narrative going. I think this narrative actually right here is actually a pretty good take. While I know that there were some drop passes and stuff like that, and I know that he absolutely, Justin absolutely extended those plays.
Yeah.
I absolutely saw why Andy Dalton was starting. And I'm not hating on him. I'm not hating on him at all. But he's just a little more poised right now. It just is what it is.
Here's the thing. We saw when Andy Dalton was in there, absolutely. We saw when Andy Dalton was in there, he was more poised, he was more prepared, he was ready to go. You know what I'm saying? He made the system look good. He made Matt Nagy's system look like, oh my goodness, this system works. They took a couple of deep shots. There were a couple times where the deep shots don't make it. Andy Dalton, unfortunately, on a run play, goes out due to injury. But they did the smart thing. They did the simple thing that I was asking them to do in my 3 keys to a Bears victory. You have to lull them in with the run. You can't go away with the run. And then when they come up, you attack them. Matt Nagy did that today. I can't come in here. I'm all here for when they're messing up, that you got to bash Nagy. But I can't come in here and bash the system we saw today. We saw 2 quarterbacks, by the way, 2 quarterbacks who played. I was going to say completely different, but Andy was saying, hey, look, I got a little Justin in my blood. Let's see what's going on. We saw 2 quarterbacks that were both in a position to be successful throughout this entire game. were continuously put in positions to be successful throughout this entire game. And I'm gonna tell you this: to judge Justin off of just what we saw today. Let's see what we have going into practice this week, and let's judge Justin if he gets that first team practice with those first team players. Let's judge Justin based off of what we see if he continues to be in there. I'll ask you this, kid. Are we seeing the beginning of the Andy Dalton, or are we seeing the beginning of the Justin Fields era here in Chicago, depending on the health, whether he's healthy or not? Does this start the Justin Fields era in Chicago, what we saw today?
Well, one, Andy Dalton was actually saying that he was good to go. They just decided not to put him back in. They put him as doubtful, but guess what? He actually did have the opportunity to come back in and said he was ready to go. He didn't look like he was hurt at all, and so something that he could shake off. I don't think
he was limping. He went back in there, and he was limping. He was for sure limping after he got a little dinged up.
I don't think you start the kid. Not right now. I don't think so. And that's really because he does need more reps and stuff like that. And so that's all happens in practice. Andy Dalton right now looked like the better QB behind center. He just did. And that's not a knock on Justin. He's a rookie. It's okay. It's all right. First couple games, get it. It's all right.
Hey, look. We're just glad that for once the 10-year vet did look better than the rookie.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And you get to see why he's there. Hey, look. Now, to be honest with you, if he had more help on those passes he threw, maybe I would be having this a little different. But even with those passes he threw, it doesn't change the fact that, hey, the man definitely had poor ball protection. The man definitely, that was that right there, and he does that consistently, right? And so that's something that he's going to have to get through in practice and things of that nature. But he's a rookie. It's okay. It's going to happen. He made plays. He made some good plays. He didn't get a lot of help, but Dalton made some plays too. And Dalton looked really good at center. And guess what? He made Nagy's system look like a real system.
And I think that's the thing. Both of them did a good job today. Both of them played well today. Both of them came out, and the offense didn't. Did the offense put up as many points as we hope it would? No, I don't think it did. But I think now I'm gonna be real with you. And we do have the Contender phone lines open. Call into the show 855-908-5668 855-908-5668. We want to hear from you, the Bears fan. We got a couple calls already on. I'm going to ask y'all this question before we go to the phone line. When is it time for us to ask the question, is A-Rob the number one? Is A-Rob worth the money that he's asking for?
He's not.
When is it time for us to ask that question? Because what we saw today, A-Rob made some big plays. Absolutely. A-Rob caught the ball. Absolutely broke a tackle, extended that first down, got that touchdown. Big play there. You love to see that. But we saw a couple of times where the ball was put on the money. When the ball was put on the money and he was not able to come down with that touchdown. Listen, there's only an extent. We can blame Matt Nagy. We can blame Justin Fields. We can blame Andy Dalton. We can only blame them so long. At a certain point, players got to make plays. Drop balls have been a consistent problem for the Chicago Bears going back a couple of seasons. And is A-Rob a plus 1,000-yard player? Absolutely.
I keep seeing this right here. Buy Mac. Why is what's hey, what did Mac do that he's not worth the money?
Well, I think a lot of people are looking at Khalil Mack and his lack of production. I mean, yes, he did play well today. I think this is a turning point game for the defense. I said that this is a turning point game for the Chicago Bears, for the defense that we saw. I think that this is going to ignite this defense moving forward. But Khalil Mack has absolutely not been the guy that we thought we were getting, minus the 2018 season. You know what I'm saying? We didn't think we were getting a one-year guy. And he's still been that guy that gets pressure. He's still been that guy that's been better. And I'll tell you what, Khalil Mack has been better, and he looked much better today when Robert Quinn also gets back there and gets a sack. When Akeem Hicks is putting a ton of pressure in his face. And I think that today you can't say anything bad about Mac.
But does Mac? Yeah, I'm saying this. But does Robert Quinn get that sack without Mac there? No. So it's like
Well,
Mac earned his money today.
Know. We haven't seen Robert Quinn healthy.
He earned his money today.
We haven't seen Robert Quinn healthy. You know what I'm saying? And so I can't say yes or no that Robert Quinn's not able to get that sack. Maybe we're finally seeing Robert Quinn healthy because Robert Quinn's been more active. He was much more active today. Mac was much more active today. If we're starting to see health in that line, you can see an entirely different line. And this is what I was saying. This is the point that I was trying to make to everybody. The line makes the defense look better. Pressure was in Joe Burrow's face the entire day. And guess what? Joe Burrow struggled to get that ball. He turned over the ball 3 times. Shout out to Tanner So Lit in the chat. That Quinn almost made me throw my new TV with that late hit out of bounds. A win is a win, though. You know what? Yeah, you don't want to see that. And here's my biggest problem with the Bears that coming out of today. Still a lot of mental mistakes, guys.
Yeah.
Much better. But your offensive line still false start. And hey, the great Juan Castillo. What's going on there?
This is blasphemous right here. Mac is getting a whole lot of hate, dog. No.
Julius Peppers was good on the Bears. I don't know what y'all are talking about. Hey, listen, we've got our resident Packers fan on the side here. He when Julius Peppers' name was brought up, bad memories just came to this man's mind. Like, I don't know where the Julius Peppers slander is coming.
Is that J Mart over there?
Yeah, J Mart over here. J Mart
was good, my boy.
But that's the big thing. Shout out to everybody with the super chats, man. We appreciate the love y'all showing, man. If y'all ain't like the video yet, like the video. This is the only channel that's talking Chicago sports, how Chicago talk. The biggest thing to me from what we saw today. First things first. Just some quick notes I had. Taunting penalties are the most garbage call I've ever seen in the NFL. And if they keep that going, you will see a lot of fans completely be turned off. That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Offensive line, like I said, still the offensive line is failing the offense. The players are failing themselves. There was a lot of times Matt Nagy has a play in, it's all ready to go, false start. There's a lot of times where Allen Robinson had it ready to go, false start. The players are failing themselves. That you can't shoot yourselves in the foot. And there's a lot of people that are coming in here today because the wideouts, the offensive line, and just poor play made Justin Fields and Matt Nagy look worse.
Now, here's the thing. Here's what I ask you. Is that lack of discipline attributed to bad preparation on I keep calling him on Nagy's part? Because he doesn't let him play with the ones as much?
No, I mean, listen, their false starts were coming in with Andy Dalton in there. That's coaching. That's coaching. That's mental. That's coaching. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the biggest thing to me. Like I'm looking at the game, and the Bears could have had so many more opportunities in the red zone. The Bears could have had so many opportunities to score touchdowns that were taken away from. Like, you can't shoot yourselves in the foot. If they continue to shoot, I'll tell you this. Versus the Bengals, it might have worked out. And especially when you get 3 interceptions, things are going to work out for you. But if you go into a game like that, like we got next week versus Cleveland, that's going to be ugly. That's going to be ugly.
I see you preaching today. I can't argue with you today.
Hey man, this is the thing.
It really happens.
I'm excited about what I saw from my team, but there are still things that scare me. And I'm not going to be one of those guys that says, oh my God, it's the Bengals. This is terrible. The Bengals offense was lighting up last week. Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow came in and just sat down and was just like, I thought he couldn't catch.
Oh, listen, he found his stride a little late. It was late. But I mean, they were like one time out away. They were literally one time out away from making this a really more competitive game toward the end. I wouldn't count them out at all. So I mean, listen, they did well. They're putting the pressure on them, getting those turnovers. They did well. Remember, the stat is this: he had 199 passes and then threw 3 INDs.
Yep. Absolutely.
So we did good putting pressure on him. I mean, my man had nearly 200 passes without INT, and now you got 3 in a row.
And listen, here's the
But
thing. He had pressure on him last week. What did we say? Sacked 5 times.
hey,
It didn't matter.
this how
Last week
good
he
he
got
is,
up,
though.
he took the pressure, he still delivered the pass. It was beautiful. This week, the Bears defense, Sean Desai did an excellent job of scheming it. Not only just the pressure, but what happens as a result of that pressure. I love what we saw on the defensive scheme. To me, it was again players. Listen, the 2 touchdowns we're talking. Well, the 1 touchdown. The one touchdown is Justin Fields being in. He makes a mistake in the red zone. That's tough to see. And we're gonna go to the phone lines here in a sec. 855-908-5668. We want to hear from you, the fan. Call into the Contender phone lines. Sean decided an excellent job scheming for Joe Burrow, and they took advantage of it.
Who
but
got on the line?
a couple of plays from Eddie Jackson, and I know everybody's like, Eddie had a great game. Listen, a couple of plays from Eddie Jackson, and this really is a dog stomp game. So but I'll tell you this, moving in the right direction. Yeah, you got
Jalen Johnson, first career interception. We do got to shout that out.
Interception. I love it.
We got to shout that out because we definitely was trashing that man last week too.
Listen, like I said, there was a general trashing of the defense last week, and I like that they shut us up. Listen,
we specifically called him out too, though. We honed in on Buddy.
We were saying his name a lot. Hey, yo, let's go out to the phone lines, man. We going out to the 520. What's going on, caller? Is it Chef Matt? What's going on?
Yeah, Chef Matt. What's up, Pat?
What's going on with you, my boy? How you feeling?
I'm doing good. I want to talk about the defense real quick. Is that yes, they played good, right? But mind you, last week when we played against the Rams, even you said on Twitter, Pat, that we're still a top 15 defense, right?
Yep.
So, and the Rams are contenders this year. The Bengals, I don't really think they're contenders this year. So really, yes, the defense had a great game, but that's expected against a team that's not really expected to do much this year. My question is like, can they keep this momentum going when we play against the Buccaneers? When we play against the Cardinals, the Packers, even though Aaron played terrible.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're doing now. I don't even know they're playing, but it's like, yeah, we had a great game, but that's expected if we're a top 15 defense to get those picks. That's expected, especially with that terrible O-line that the Bengals have. My question is, can they be able to hold that momentum? That's really all I have to say. And Allen Robinson, I feel like he does deserve his money. I mean, he had one bad game. And we don't, I feel like, me personally, I feel like we don't give him enough credit where credit's due, because there are times we have came through for us. And now, we have a good quarterback. He just had one bad game. I think people are giving him too much of a hard time, to be honest.
Appreciate you for the call in, man. Appreciate you for the call in. Definitely going to address all of it. Listen, as far as expecting the defense to do this, yes, you do expect the defense to do this. But this is the thing. I don't take credit away from you when you do it. You know what I'm saying? Like we do expect the defense to get those interceptions versus the tougher or the easier teams versus the easier offensive lines. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
the big thing is you got to do it. Because how many times last season did we see a team come in and say, hey, we should dominate them defensively? And we didn't.
Mm-hmm.
How many times did we see the Bears almost give a game away to the Jaguars or you know what I'm saying? Or you lose in Vegas or over in London because your defense didn't show up versus a team that you should beat. You still have to do it. You still have to perform it. And so to me, seeing them do it, I got to give them credit. And as far as A-Rob having a bad game, this is not new, what we saw from Allen Robinson.
Yeah. And then on top of that, just to get my 2 cents on it, you know, the elite teams are elite teams for a reason, right? So when you mention names like the Buccaneers and stuff like that. First of all, we're talking about the Super Bowl champs, and we're talking about a loaded squad, right? So, we're not even looking at trying to dominate them so much as, like
You're just trying to
realistically.
beat them.
Yeah, we're trying to compete. We're trying to just stay in the game. Like you're not dominating the Buccaneers for where we are right now. Now, is that an indictment on us? No, they're just that good. They're just that freaking good, and it's okay, right? At the same time, with teams like the Bengals, teams like who's another one that has a weak off O line, Jacksonville, stuff like you mentioned. Yeah, we should do well against them, right? Like just in any sport, when you know that you have a more highly touted defense than they have, as far as any other sport, you would know, hey, there's some games we should win. There's some games that we're gonna have some struggle with. That's gonna happen. When it comes to A-Rob has been doing this for a minute though. A-Rob, I've said this on many lives. A-Rob gets shut down way too easy, dog. Way too easy. We trying to get the type of money he's asking. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, it surprised me that he had 1,300 yards one year. It just did. I'm like, okay.
He's never had that quarterback that he. I'll tell you this: out of the two, he's never had a quarterback of either caliber that he has right now. He's never had a quarterback of Andy Dalton's ilk. He's never had a quarterback of Justin Fields' ilk. And right now, I'm looking at. I listen, it's game 2. There was a couple drops, but it's not something new that we haven't seen.
And let's not forget that we also praise Mooney a lot more too. Like we were high on Mooney just because we saw him actually catching those passes that A-Rob was dropping, because A-Rob was also getting shut down. So like realistically, I think Mooney should be getting those looks more. I think he really should. I think he's a better receiver right now. Either way.
I don't think you go away from him. I think you let Allen Robinson prove to you that he's not going to be able to do it this season. But I think that you have to, there's a lot of times where the kind of receiver Allen is, he doesn't have that speed that's going to overwhelm somebody where he's going to blow past you. He's got to use his body. He's got to go for that 50-50 ball. If he's not winning the 50-50 balls, then he's not getting that separation. You can see when even on his big catches, he's not getting that separation.
Let me ask you this in regards to, since we're talking about receivers, and we know that our receivers, like you said, we have Olympic level speed on our team, right? Does it bother you that Andy Dalton's package, as far as throwing deep, looked vastly different than Justin Fields?
I think that the game today, when you put a rookie in the first time, whether it's Justin Fields or not, you don't want to give him too much, because he's coming in at a time where he hasn't practiced with these guys all week. He's been running scout team. He hasn't played competitively in a game this high. Like he's played in preseason, but he hasn't played in a game this high. So I think with Andy, you give Andy a little bit more. But Justin got deep opportunities. They were dropped.
Oh, yeah.
Justin got multiple deep opportunities, and they were dropped. And Andy got some deep opportunities too, and I think the problem was there was no separation there. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, there's that Olympic level speed, but you still got to get open. You know what I'm saying? The guys on the other side ain't slow either. So to me, I like as far as game planning, I like what we saw. As far as the finish, though, I would have liked better, and I can't put it on what we saw from the coaches. I can't put that on the coach. Well, I'll say this: I can put the mental mistakes, the offensive penalties, I mean, what do we have? 7 penalties for 60 yards. How many penalties did it break down to there?
I don't know. We had like 4 just with Justin. We had 4 just with Justin, like the first second.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. You know, like the opportunities are there for the team to continuously get better. And I see progress, but there's still that moment where you got to say, okay, well, why are they having these penalties? And that part I do put on the coaching staff. That part is poor preparation to me. But as far as scheme, as far as the play, listen, Matt schemed a lot of guys open today. He said Pat like Nagy, so he's not going to throw his guy under the bus. Listen, you ain't been watching the lives then, because I've been throwing Matt under the bus heavily. Let's go back out to the phones, man. 520-833. We're going to go out to you, my guy, Aaron. What's going on, Aaron?
What's up? How are you guys?
What's happening, man? How you feeling?
What's going on?
Good. I think that A-Rob is still that dude. I mean, his route running's elite. He's open on almost every play. It's a matter of time if the O-line gives him enough time to quarterback enough time to throw the ball. I mean, he dropped one ball. I mean, let's not forget, I've watched football for my entire life, and ever since he's been on the team, I think I've seen him drop 2 balls that haven't been, besides the ones that have been deflected by defenders. I mean, I still think he's that dude. I think it's a little overreaction for that. Obviously, he should have caught that one in the end zone, but I think that he's still that guy. And
I mean, your number one guy was targeted 4 times today, and he only caught 2 of them. One for a touchdown. You know what I'm saying?
Mooney
he was targeted in some big moments.
Figure him out. True. Yeah, and I think another issue is still with the cornerbacks we have. I mean, even though the Bengals didn't have, besides at the end, they didn't have that many big plays during the game, they still had so many guys that were on simple, 10-yard routes that the DBs were just chasing because they couldn't keep up with them.
Yeah.
I still think that's a huge issue, probably the biggest issue on the team that needs to be addressed. Is that cornerback position. Jalen Johnson was great, but other than that, I don't know. It's weak at that position.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Appreciate you for calling in, man. Great call in. Make sure to call in again. Call into the show, 855-908-5668. And I see a lot of people saying that that's 50% on the 4 targets. The problem there is not the fact that he caught 2. The problem is that
he was only targeted 4 times.
He's not getting open enough to get targeted. He's your number one option. But if he's not getting open enough, he doesn't have that separation. If all you can throw him is 50-50 balls, and he's not coming down with the 50-50 balls, that's a problem.
And mind you, we want to keep our comments respectful as well. So we're gonna put you on timeout because we don't do that one. We don't do that one. I don't know why you thought it was a good move, but you're gonna find out.
I wasn't worried about it. He could pull up whenever.
I wasn't worried about it either, but I mean, you know how we get down. So let's keep it respectful.
And listen, I really think that I like what he said about the Bears DBs, and I really think that the biggest problem the Bears have right now is that they just don't have that talent level. I think that we're seeing that Jalen Johnson is an above average, at least right now, corner. You know what I'm saying? Above average at a minimum. But the thing with me is after that, there's nothing. After that, we're talking about
the chestnut busting on something. Listen, the person I'm even talking about wasn't even none of y'all. So the person I was talking about ain't even in the chat no more. So I need to stop that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm just saying. You know, the immediate drop off at the DB position for the Bears is a real issue, and it's a real struggle that we've seen. And listen, does it look better? Yeah. Does it look better? Yeah, but the biggest problem is it looked better because they were in Joe Burrow's face the entire game.
Yeah.
It looked better because they spent the entire game in Joe Burrow's face, and it caused him to have more issues. You know what I'm saying? So to me, you saw it when Jamar Chase was breaking down the sideline wide open. You saw it when Tyler Boyd was wide open coming across the middle with nobody even near him. You saw it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there were multiple times where the Bears defensively just, if it got past the front line, there was nothing there for them to stop it unless it was Roquan. And when it got to Roquan, it ended up working out. You know what I'm saying? So I think defensively, you still got that question in there, man.
I would say this overall. And it's I don't know what's going on here. Boom. Overall, realistically though, let's just go from game to game. Game 1, we were sitting there trashing the defense. Defense showed up.
Yep.
Defense showed up. We put great pressure on it. And mind you, defense showed up in a game where we thought Joe Burrow was going to light us up. And he probably had a good chance to, right? That connection with him and Chase is strong. Like, listen, they did good. So at this point, let's look at that caveat. We also wanted to see more Justin Fields. Happened in a way that, oddly enough, we got to see him for a whole half a game.
Yeah.
Right? So all the things we wanted from a fan perspective, our fan base, we got today. We got to see Justin Fields. We got to see why, Nagy has him kind of playing second fiddle right now. We got to see all of that kind of come to a head. We got to see our run game kind of explode. David Montgomery looked really good out there. Like, all the stuff that we've kind of been picking at, we kind of saw. We got to see Matt Nagy call a really balanced game. Like, it was a really good game. He called a really good game.
Yeah.
There's not one of those things where we can sit there and say, yeah, Matt Nagy called that play. Like, he didn't do one of those. What they call it?
Boy, I thought he had an end around coming, and he ended up just handing the ball off to Monty.
Right.
I thought he had an end around coming. He ended up giving the ball to Monty. I was like, that would have been so mad.
He didn't get cute. He stayed within his what was working. And guess what? So from overall, we got what we wanted today, fellas.
Yes.
We had a good game.
100%. Can they build on it? And that was the question that Aaron asked. Can they build on it going into next week versus the Browns? And we don't want y'all to think either that we're saying that the defense played poorly. Listen, you get 3 interceptions, you run one back for a touchdown. That's not playing poorly. But there's still some holes there that you got to look at.
Hey, listen, what did they rank in fantasy today? I'm pretty sure someone ate today.
Hey, look. I'll tell you this. It wasn't my brother because he had the Bears defense on the bench for Pittsburgh. I don't know what he was thinking there, boy.
Hey, man, I had Mooney on the bench too. I was like, I kind of did all right with that one. But anyway, no, like, do they carry it over? I hope so. I'm going to be honest with you. I wanted to carry over just for Justin. I can tell that he was really hard on himself on those mistakes.
Yeah.
I mean, mind you, he got the fumble back, which I really love to see. But he had a fumble and a pick, basically.
And the fumble was and listen, here's the thing though. That's how that right there, those plays right there, and we're gonna go back to the phone line and see a couple callers on there. Those plays right there that the Bears have, or that Justin had, that were small mistakes.
Yeah.
The thing that you have to look at is this is his first time being in that kind of action.
Right.
This is his first time being in that kind of situation where, hey, you're the answer. Right now, we're struggling. We got to keep it down. And I say this, did we see him play a little bit up and down? Yes, we did. But when it got down to it, he understood the situation. Justin understood the assignment.
Mm-hmm.
When it was 3rd and 9,
he got that first down.
And you knew he had to get a first down. What's he do? Takes a second, looks around. I don't see anything I like. I'm taking off. I'll say this: his decision making, other than that one pick, which I think that improves just based on actually playing. His decision making.
It was a bad looking pick.
Was quick. It was a bad looking pick. I mean, he threw it right to him. He got baited into the zone. Threw it right to him. But his decision making, even that, quick decision.
Yeah.
Wrong decision. But quick decision. The problem is that we've seen with quarterbacks in the past is the quick decision. We haven't seen them make that quick decision. Now we not only saw Andy Dalton, who, listen, if Justin is learning from him based off what we saw today, Andy Dalton's making quick decisions. We getting down the field. Let's keep it going. And I'll tell you this, a lot of growth in the entire offense on how it moved. Now, of course, plays that end up, some catches that don't get made, Justin with the interception. But the offense was coming in. The other thing you got to give credit to Nagy on. What did we see? What was the big thing with him and Foles? Foles is like, we got it moving. Let's go. Hold on. Timeout, brother. Wait, we got to take a second and no, let that happen. Matt, let the players play.
Yeah.
And I like the offense that we saw this week was quick. It was happening. It was methodical. It was moving at a pace that kept the Bears' momentum on their side. Even when Joe Burrow started to make his comeback. When the offense got back on the field, the offense continued to keep the momentum on their side.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing that I like to see from the Bears, that the offense wasn't the reason that they were giving the Bengals defense chances to come back.
Right. Let's head to the phone lines real quick.
Let's head to the phone lines here. Let's go out to the 773. We got Chris on the line. Chris, what's going on?
What's going on, Path, man?
How you feeling, man?
Nothing much, man. How y'all doing, man?
Man, you
Good,
know we
man.
living the
Good,
dream
man.
out here,
Chilling,
man. Bear
man.
down.
Hey, yeah, bear down for real. Hey, I would like to say that they played a good game, but another thing that I could just nitpick at is the penalties. Penalties will always are a good thing or a bad thing.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with you, man. The penalties really were a struggle
because the penalties. Yeah, because the penalties put us out of good field position in on a couple of drives. When Montgomery had had us on the 28-yard, put us on the Bengals 28-yard line. And then they had them offset penalties. Don't get me wrong, it was offset, but the holding call caused us to not be on. It cost us a lot of scoring drives, though.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie to you. They had a good game. Don't get me wrong. It was better than getting from week one. But it was still the penalties were the issues of killing momentums in the game.
Yeah, no,
I fully agree with you, man. Fully agree with you. The penalties was something they've gotta lock down. We appreciate you for calling in. All right, man. The penalties are something they gotta lock down. 100%. The penalties were a big problem for the Bears this game, and they've been a big problem for the Bears going back. This is the thing. The small things that we saw that continued to be a problem are not new problems.
Ooh, it's a bad day for quarterbacks.
and listen, hey, it's a tough day for quarterbacks all around. The injuries that we saw on the quarterback side, too, are going out with a rib problem. Did Baker ever come back? Did anybody see if Baker came back? I know Baker went out. There was a lot of problems for the Bears or for quarterbacks today. Joe Burrow just didn't have a good game, but just
3 INTs though.
A lot of guys having to go to the backup early. You know what I'm saying?
You got Ringo on the line.
Only good thing for the Bears is that we got a backup to go to. We got Stefan Nadon on the phone lines out here, man. He says he's got a little Bears news for us, man, because he's been listening in to the press conferences.
Hey, yo.
What's going on? What you been hearing, my boy?
All right, so look, for everybody that's excited about Justin Fields, and I know he played a full half today, I've been listening to Nagy's press conference, and Nagy did say that he did a great job with the time that he got and for the situation that he was in. It seems like Andy may just be a little sore from what I'm hearing, so he may be back next week. I'm totally not sure, but don't get too excited if you don't see Justin Fields get to start next week.
Appreciate you for that news drop, my boy. Appreciate you for that news drop. That is that's pretty big. I mean, because especially for Matt Nagy to see what he saw from Justin Fields. And listen, it's like we said, it's like we've been having a conversation about. There's still some question marks. There's still, even with Justin Fields, with what you saw from him being good, there's still some question marks with him. Is he ready to be the starter? And I think what you saw from Andy was Andy said, I've been a starter. I do this. This is the NFL. Yeah, you protect me a little bit better, which listen, shout out to Ken Burke for that comment. If you see Sam Mustipher out there, and honestly, the play where Andy ends up getting re-injured is Sam Mustipher just getting destroyed. And I'm just like, wait a minute, dog. What happened? What happened between Aaron Donald not destroying you last week all game to this week? Like he did look bad last week too, but the big thing that I saw is Andy. I think out of this game we saw more so Andy take the mantle of I should be the starter if healthy, over Justin fully saying that I should be the starter if Andy is healthy no matter what.
Yeah, let's not kid ourselves here. Justin hasn't done enough to say, "Oh, I'm the definitive starter."
Yeah,
it's not like we're sitting on like a gold mine. I know. Let me take a step back. his potential, yeah, obviously he's going to be a better QB. But it's not like he's playing right now, lights out, and we're like holding him back. Nah, like we're in a mode where if we start Dalton, he gives us a better chance to win just because he's just more prepared right now. And you kind of have to decide whether or not you want to be all in on letting Justin develop or you want to be all in on just trying to see him play.
Yeah.
Because seeing him play, we might get more games where he's going to make these rookie mistakes, and we got to live with it. And so again, the question is, if we put the kid in too early and he doesn't play well, are you willing to live with it?
I think if you put the kid in and he doesn't play well, you have to be willing to live with it. You have to be willing to live with it because it's about is he not playing well because Allen Robinson is dropping the ball, or is he not playing well because he's not playing well? Those are two different things. Is he not playing well because he's not protecting the ball, because he's fumbling, because he's losing it, throwing interceptions? That's the question that you have to ask, because listen, like you said, it doesn't happen. But if two footballs are caught, we're talking about Justin Fields completely different. If two footballs are caught, we're talking about Justin Fields as the unquestioned starter next week. We're talking about him. If Allen Robinson and listen, Justin got to go to his receivers and be like, look, y'all got to help me out here. Y'all got to help me out a little bit here. If Allen Robinson and Darnell Mooney catch two footballs, Justin Fields is the unquestioned starter next week. 100%.
I love this statement.
So you still got the question.
Your investment is an investment until you can reap the benefits of it. We're not in a position to reap the benefits of it. The investment we've made is we drafted him and we have him there learning behind a more poised QB for the moment. Like, let's not get ahead of ourselves. It's week 2.
It's week 2, for sure.
It's week 2.
It's week 2.
If we're in week 9 having this conversation, different ball game, right? Yeah. We're in week 2, and we clearly saw, hey, there's a reason. There's a reason. Because I tell you what, if we threw him out there and he pulled a Zach Wilson, Chicago is the type of fan base where we will turn on him quick. I don't know why people keep saying.
Hey, listen. We gave Mitch a season and a half. We gave Mitch a season and a half.
If we are one of the worst fan bases to play for. We are.
I can't say that.
I never say that. You know why? When you have a potential to do good, we root for you. But as soon as you start tripping, people will be sitting there throwing you under the bus and backing it up twice. Like,
that's cap. That's cap. Because listen, it's people that still think we should re-sign Joakim Noah to a 10-day. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you play well for this city and you give your heart for this city backs you up. That's cap. That's cap.
He said wrong. Hey, listen. All right, listen. We throw that boy out there. He throw 4 picks. I want to see everyone in this chat go, he had a good game. I want to see it. I want to see it.
Hey, let's clean up.
He had a subpar game today. We already said, well, this is why Andy started. Come on.
Let's clean up some of these last minute calls, man. I think we got the big man, Jay Crit, Mr. P1 in the chat. Crit, what's good, man?
What's up, my nephews? How you guys doing?
What's happening, OG? How you feeling?
What's going on with you, Crit?
Man, great show again. Things good, man. Just relaxing. I ain't gonna hold you guys up because I don't get that Oscars, wrap it up music. Hey, man, the overall game, I enjoyed the game. I was complaining a bit about Matt Nagy's it was a vanilla kind of play call. A game call for the game, but you guys hit the nail on the head. He did what he needed to do for these quarterbacks and for this game, and we got to win out of that. If Nagy stops being so, we all say this, he's very stubborn. If he stops being so stubborn and he sticks to his guns when he can see what a defense is giving him, we'll end up with a lot of games like this, whether we're playing a playoff game or a playoff team or a team like, a French-style team like Cincinnati. But hey, Tim, to your point, I think you've been saying this week, we talk a lot, and you've been saying this last couple of weeks. You're right. Dalton is he should be starting right now. The kid, you can see those offsides. We haven't seen a quarterback have that many offsides in a long time. And he's too anxious. I don't think he's nervous. I just think he's too anxious. I think he gets in his way, and I think he's going to be great.
I think we lost you there, Crit.
Oh, I thought we lost you for a second. Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think he's going to be great too.
Huh?
We got a little delay going on here. I said no. I think he's going to be great too. I think he was just, I don't take anything away from it. It's his first real half and to play. It wasn't just like he had 1 or 2 series. He had a full half, and so we got to see a couple things. We got to see him work through it, and I'm looking forward to taking a journry with him. To be honest with you, to see him, evolve as a player and stuff like that. Right? Really anxious to see it.
Don't you guys think it was fun to see him for that half? I want to see that. I'm riding with you guys on this the whole thing. If he starts, great. But we have to, guys. We got to give Dalton credit for his leadership. That dude is bringing the calm to the team.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's going to help in the long run.
Absolutely, my boy. Listen, we're wrapping up in the last 10 minutes. Crit, I appreciate you, my man. I appreciate you.
All right, guys. All right.
Safe out there. So, Kid, and listen, he made a lot of good points. I mean, it was exciting to see Justin out there. It was good to see Justin playing well. I think the next key that you got to see for Justin is, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, he still only threw for what, 67 yards, 70 yards, something like that. It's not crazy. Now it's and that might come down to Matt Nagy. There might be a limit to, even with Justin Fields and Andy Dalton playing well, there might be a limit to how much offense Matt Nagy is actually able to generate. 60 yards for Justin Fields. There just honestly might be a limit to how much offense Matt Nagy's offense is able to generate.
How many yards for Andy Dalton?
56 yards for Andy Dalton.
All right. So anybody see the problem with that?
Yeah, hey, look, and that's what I'm saying. And we didn't see Andy. Andy went out first quarter, right? Kind of came back in, but Andy went out first quarter. But it's not. It's almost like this could be a situation like where Doug Collins before Phil Jackson. You know what I'm saying? This could be a Doug Collins before Phil. Now I can't say anything bad about what Nagy did today because I think he called a balanced game, but there just might be a limit to what he's able to do with his offense. There just might be that. Listen, it's a passing offense. It's big yard. It might not be. It honestly might not be. And
I don't think it isn't. I honestly think it's a scheme.
Therein lies the problem.
I think it's the schemes more than anything. But at the same time, our whole narrative changes off of those 2 dynamic plays.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so that's why it's one of those things where we got to take the good with the bad and just roll with it, because we can't blame Nagy. Nagy called a better game than we've given him credit for in the last 2 seasons. Absolutely. We finally got a legit run game.
Hey, listen.
We got a legit run game.
Let's be real. And before we get out of here, we gotta break down next week's game a little bit. But let's be real. Is this the best we've seen the Bears play as a football team since Matt Nagy has been here? Offense, defense, special teams, coaching scheme. We don't have any questions on some people do, but I don't have any questions on Matt Nagy's scheme for today, except the fact that you don't complete the deep yards. I don't have a lot of questions on the offense being methodical and moving the ball. I don't have a lot of questions on what the defense was able to do. Is this the best total game that we've seen from the Chicago Bears? And I think we lost Kid there. Is this the best total game that we've seen from the Chicago Bears? I'm talking about offense, defense, specialty, everybody. Because when I look at what we saw today, we saw a team that was able to get the job done on both sides of the ball consistently. There wasn't a question. Because a lot of times, listen, when we're talking about 2018 was fun. 2018 wasn't offense. 2018 was fun. 2018 wasn't offense. That's not a bad one. The Tampa game 2018, that's a pretty good one. That's a good one. I'll give you that one. I give you that one. 2018 was pretty bad, or that Tampa game was pretty balanced. I give you that one. Not bad. Not bad at all. Let's look ahead to next week, man. We got the Cleveland Browns coming in. We're going to the Cleveland Browns. Let's see what Cleveland did today before I make a huge, bold prediction. Listen, that game is very different. And this is why when we do those preseason predictions, where we say, listen, they're going in there, they're getting washed. They're going in there, they're getting washed. Is Baker healthy? Baker's shoulder hurt right now. Baker had a decent day, but if he's injured going into next week, can the Bears pull that out? That's why the what was it? 304 passing yards and 153 rushing yards. Oh, on the year. You're talking about on the year. Oh, okay. That's very different. So I'm seeing Jay Sanders say Baker came back in. Yeah, I didn't get to see the end of that game because I was watching the Bears. So I didn't get to see the end of that game. Depending on how healthy Baker is next week. If Baker's healthy, if that offense is moving, if that defense is doing what it's continuously done, I don't see a reason. I don't see a pretty outlook for the Bears in that game. I see that game probably ending something like, I'd say 28-17. Bears on the losing end of it. But that all depends on Baker's health. That all depends on his outlook in the game coming up. If Baker's not in the game, that's a completely different team. Defensively, is it a completely different team? No. But like Baki saying right here, OBJ still not out. Jarvis Landry went out today as well. Both of those guys are question marks. If your starting quarterback is a question mark as well, that's trouble. That's trouble. That could spell a completely different team. A completely different team. I really like what we've got. I like a lot of what I saw today. I like a lot of what I saw defensively. I like a lot of what I saw scheme-wise. I'd like to see him go downfield. Case Keenum for the Browns at backup. Case Keenum's the backup for the Browns. Hey, that's a very different game. That's a very different game. That's a very different game. Case Keenum is at backup for the Browns. Now that is shout out Mike Davidson here. That is the good question. Clowney and Garrett versus our offensive tackles. Yeah, that could get ugly. That could get ugly. That could absolutely get ugly. Somebody's getting touched. Somebody's getting touched up for sure. Listen, we appreciate you guys for tuning in and rocking with us, man. Like I said, if I had to predict now, I'm predicting Baker. If Baker is healthy, Bears probably come out with an L next week, 28-17. I'm predicting that right now. Let me get some bold predictions in the chat before we get up out of here, man. We appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us. This team is moving in the right direction. We got 21-14 win. 21-14 win. Who commented that? That's off on my Twitter. Hold on now, pimp. Oh yeah, and then listen. Let's see how before we get out of here. Let's see what the standings are looking like right now. I think right now we might have a first place team, ladies and gentlemen. We might have a first place team right now. We got 31-17 to Mike Davidson. Hold up. My side is tweaking right there. There we go. We got AMG says Bears lose 27-10. Lamar says Bears win 17-10. We got Go Lions in the chat. That's a wild one. It's a wild one. You're a bold guy, my friend. And we appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us, man. We got everybody laughing at the Go Lions. We appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us, man. As always, it's your boy Pat the Designer. Back at it again. Hey, yo, Chicago. The Bears got the dub. Bird on. Hey, y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Peace.